Hello and welcome to Take Flight Live with Phoenix Stage Company, an award-winning 100% volunteer community theater located in Oakville, Connecticut. I'm Ed Bassett, Executive Director of Phoenix Stage Company, and your host here with Tim Phillips. Say hello, Tim.
Hello!
It's nice that this week you waited for me to say hello, Tim, before you shouted over me.
Oh, it took me 27 performances.
That was
before
really
I-
nice.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, we have a studio audience again.
We do have a studio audience. We have doubled the size of our studio audience from last week.
We have four
Four in our
today.
studio.
We're so excited.
And we're almost at capacity.
We are. So let's.
Oh, we have to do this.
We have
yeah.
to do this. We have to
Yeah.
make sure that we're 6 feet apart. They were all social distanced out there in the house.
Yeah.
Yes, we are 6 feet apart.
Do you know that we are also, I had to look it up, 0.0009 kilocams apart from each other for all our Klingon friends.
There we are.
Kilocam.
You think they watch us?
Kapla!
Kapla on. Are you okay? Hairball?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I feel better now.
it's okay. So welcome back to Take Flight Live. Last week we visited with Laura Sturgis Cortez.
Who knows Klingon?
She does. She is a speaker of the Klingon language.
Yes.
Yeah, and we had our first live studio audience.
Yes, we did.
So
Yep.
welcome to these people that are our
Yep.
second. Yeah, it was nice.
It has been an eventful week.
Oh, it's been a crazy
It's
week.
been a crazy week. Of course, you know, we got the it's been a mixed bag. There's been, of course, the horrible news coming out of New York that there will be no Broadway until 2021, which we kind of expected.
We did
We
kind of expect it.
And,
You know, and we touched on the subject briefly about our own opening and the opening of theaters in our area. We're not equipped yet, or we're not educated enough yet to know what we're supposed to do to keep the actors and the volunteers healthy.
right.
We know what we need to do for the audience, but for this end of the boards, we just don't know what to do. And
Yeah.
the fact that Broadway now is pushing out, it tells us that we're not alone in that,
Yeah.
obviously.
So, I mean, it's a little comforting from that point of view. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people watching the Disney Channel tomorrow night. We know that.
Oh, that's right. Hamilton. Amber, you're going to watch? Absolutely.
Yep. I got
Yep.
my own subscription.
Your Disney subscription.
So I can watch. but
Yeah,
that's
you were telling me that they gave away, they did away with the one free month because people were signing up with the one free month just to watch Hamilton, and then they canceled.
They canceled.
So,
you have
but
to
you
pay
know,
the
what is it?
$6.99.
$6.99 for a ticket
Pay
to
the
Hamilton.
$6.99.
Come on.
That's like 1/100th of the cost.
You know, I saw that show on Broadway.
Did you?
Yes, it was a birthday gift.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was going to see.
Right.
It had
You
just
you
won
knew
the
the
Tony.
hype though.
It had just won the Tony.
Right.
And our friend Lyle took me for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
It was breathtaking.
And for you to say that, you're not easily impressed with Broadway. It has to be
No.
really, really good to get your.
Listen, you got millions of dollars and you're charging us millions of dollars to go see the show. It better be
Yeah,
breathtaking. And that show was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to talk about choreography, every bit of blocking was choreography. And you'll
Sure.
see that if you watch it tomorrow, you will see what I'm talking about. If you've seen it,
Yeah.
you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Every movement was choreographed and it's brilliant.
My niece out in California, Anna, has already posted on Facebook that she intends to watch it the moment it becomes available. And for her, that will be at 3 a.m. So she's going to be getting up at 3 a.m. to watch Hamilton. Good luck with that.
Hey,
I
it's
could wait till the
okay.
evening. You know.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's well worth the watch.
Definitely looking forward to seeing that, and it's going to be a nice shot.
And this is the original cast.
yes, it was taped in 2016, so it's going to be
Seriously,
going to be amazing.
brilliantly amazing show.
As far as our Phoenix family, it was a tough week for our good friend Casey Ross. Her mom passed away,
It was. Yeah.
and we, everybody at Phoenix sends you a big hug, virtual hug, Casey, and just
Yeah.
hang in there.
We're here with you.
Yeah.
And Sharon Houk and I have a cat. Sharon and I were roommates for many years. We have cats, and one of our cats is in the hospital. He's been there for 3 days.
He's going to be fine.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine. He's got a bad tooth.
Yeah.
Who knew it was like such a hassle to get a dentist appointment for a cat?
Yeah, you mentioned
Oh my
you
God.
mentioned how not only the hassle but the cost involved, and I thought you were talking about getting braces for your cat.
Yeah, no, no. So yeah, it's been a very long 3 days.
And of course, there is some good news to
yeah.
talk about. Do we want to give it away ahead of time?
No,
Okay,
we're gonna
we'll
wait
save
until we're gonna wait. We're
We'll
gonna
save
save
the
the
good
really good news. And
Okay.
here at Phoenix, it's been a crazy week too, as far as the building. We had a tree come through the roof
With
of the
all that
building
bad, the thunderstorms that been going
over
through.
the ladies' room, and it didn't come all the way through, so it just punctured the roof, so we didn't know about it.
Right.
And then the rain came and it flooded the bathroom, and it caused a lot of damage back there. So Harold's been here. You know, we had a beekeeper here yesterday getting rid of some bees up on the roof before
Yeah, but there weren't bees. They were wasps.
Wasps, yeah.
So,
So
it's a big difference.
So
They don't
yeah,
have honey.
so Harold's been in and out, and I've been in and out.
Kind
And
of disappointed it wasn't honeybees, because then maybe we could have like made our own little Phoenix Stage Company honey and sell it.
Yeah,
Fundraiser.
you know, I have an EpiPen in the office, so as long as it lasts more than one time, if I get stung getting some honey for you, then I can stick myself with the
If
pen.
it works for Winnie the Pooh, it works for me.
Okay, yeah, I think bears have some kind of natural immunity to being allergic to bees. So
Well, let's hope so, because
Yeah.
I've never seen a bear with an EpiPen.
I haven't either, Tim. I haven't either. What are we talking about
Well,
this
I'm
week?
so glad you actually got to the topic of discussion this week. Today we are talking about taking the leap, moving from the darkness of backstage to the bright lights on stage. Everybody that's ever done a show, all our actor friends, including some in the audience today, had their first experience at one time or another. Our guest this week is Brian Elser, and Brian's been with us for a long time. And also our friend Lydia Cleft
Lydia's
will be
coming back.
returning
Yep.
for her
All the way from
weekly
Northfield, Minnesota.
Northfield, Minnesota, for her Ask Lydia segment.
Sure.
And well, of course, with Brian, we will be playing jargon gymnastics.
Stretch your mind.
Stretch your
your
tongue. I always go southern when I say that.
I don't
Stretch
know
your
why. I don't know why.
So taking the leap, it's a big deal to people their first show on stage. Now I was going to ask you this: do you remember your very first time? It had to be a long time ago. Your very first time on stage performing.
I do.
Yeah,
I was 4. I was 4. At St. Michael's Church in Naugatuck.
Okay.
I was Tom Thumb in a Tom Thumb's wedding.
Oh.
And I got married to a young lady whose name was Mary Jane O'Donnell. And my best friend Patrick was the minister in the play.
Oh.
They had to handcuff us together on stage because we wouldn't hold hands. And I still have pictures. I'm sure that my sister is watching. I still have pictures, and I look like a little Ricky Ricardo, you know, the tuxedo with the hair and the babaloo.
Yeah.
And they have pictures of us in the stairwell of St. Michael's with our heads together, and they had to pay us a nickel to do that.
So you were a professional actor at
there's
4.
a nickel in my baby book that my mom gave me, and that was from my very first theatrical performance as Tom Thumb in a Tom Thumb's wedding.
When I talk about taking the leap, that's not much of a leap. That's a little short hop off a chair.
It is. And then I didn't do anything in theater again until high school.
Talk about that. What was that show? Do you remember?
Anything Goes.
Anything Goes.
Anything Goes. I was third bloke from the left in the back row.
I think most of us have started as third.
Yeah, and that
that
was my junior year in high school, and then senior year we did Grease.
So what was it? That was your junior year, you said you did?
Yes.
Anything else? What made you decide to go out for the show? Or was that a case of, as it is a lot of times in high school, you have no choice but to go for a show?
Well, so I was in the chorus. You know, I was.
Right.
My school was very weird, like
it was
in Vermont, and
right.
You know, we had the in crowd and the weird crowd.
Yeah.
And then everybody kind of did things together. I mean, it was you were the in or not.
Right.
I was not, and but everybody kind of did the school play. It was like everybody
and
kind
that's
of
the show that everybody can do. Right?
Everybody did it.
Yeah.
And in Greece, so I moved from third bloke from the left, carrying a steamer trunk.
Yeah.
To
in Greece.
I was Teen Angel and Johnny Casino.
Wow. So that's a big jump.
It was a big jump. Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't. That was it. I wasn't bit by the bug. I was just doing it because it was school and you're supposed to do it. You know.
So then, when did the bug hit you? Because it must have been a few years later before you actually were on a.
I was in the Navy.
Yeah.
Stationed in Japan, and I had done some recordings for our labor and delivery patients in Japanese.
Okay.
And
as people remember from last week, you know you're Japanese.
And one of the patients came in and listened to it. She was a civilian employee, and her husband was an American civilian that worked for NHK Studios in Tokyo. And he listened to it, and they asked the commander who, what. And I started doing some stuff with theater because of that.
Right.
He got me into it. There was a small group called Yokosuka Little Theater that was on the base. Most people don't know this, but every military base around the world has a community theater company.
Oh, I did not.
And
know
it's
that.
headed up by a civilian who has usually the equivalent rank of a captain in the military.
Okay.
So you're a government service employee and you're the executive director of the community theater on the base with their recreation department. So look that out, jobs.gov. You can find out, you can be, community theater leader in Italy or something. Who knows, right?
Why not? Why not?
Yeah. And so my very first show ever beyond that was Once Upon a Mattress, and I was Jester Jingles.
Okay.
And then just a slew after that.
It just kind of cascaded.
And that's when I really got the bug.
Right.
That's when I really got the bug because I kind of knew it.
Yeah.
then.
So that's really where the leap really takes effect, is when you're cognizant of the fact that you're doing this now because you want to do it, as opposed to everybody does it in school.
But but I have to tell you, we're talking about a leap, and that was really just I found a love, right? So it was a leap. The leap for me was going from stage to backstage. That was the leap for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was working for Martin City Melodrama and Vaudeville Company in Kansas City, Missouri, and you were hired for a season, and if you weren't in a show, you had to do something else. And so we had to work backstage, we had to do crew, we had to do costumes, we had to do sets, we had to do something. And so that was my, okay, I got to find something I can do.
Right.
And that was my leap to work backstage. And from there, I got into other things of it. And then the first time you direct, you're
right. Well, I think that's where the taking the leap comes into effect. It's getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
To try something new.
Yeah.
And in your case, it was working backstage.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, your first show.
I actually did a production in my junior year of high school that was in a classroom. In our English class, we had teams, and we were supposed to come up with something. And my team, which were 3 girls and me, we wrote a play called The Penny. It was about this rags to riches to rags story. And I had to play, I think, 8 roles because I was the only guy. But I still remember to this day reading my lines into a mirror and seeing how I looked, and doing it in front of the classroom kind of spoke to me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until years later, in 1991, that our church put on a play called Interview with God with Rick Dufresne, and who's been on Phoenix Stage Company, and Bob Clark. And I was not God. Bob was God. Rick was an angel, and I was just some dead guy. But that was fun. And I still remember this in doing this show. Laurie and I, we were married at the time. We were about 4 years married, and she just looked and she said how I was enjoying it. And she said, "That's it. You're going to go away. You're going to be an actor. You're never going to come back. You're just going to be an actor forever for your life." It was 10 years later before I did another show. And once I did that show, that was the leap.
And which show was that, Tim?
That was with Seven Angels Theater's community theater production. It was The Last Supper.
The Last Supper.
Yes. I loved our production. I loved our production because it was based on the actual off-Broadway production. It's gone through a lot of changes. But right from that to, wait for it, MAME. There it is, with Amber in 2000. That's where Amber and I met. And that was a big deal. That was the first time doing a show that Last Supper was an emotional show, but doing a show like that where everybody knows the show and the responses were phenomenal, and the cast were big, and everybody was really tight knit and having fun. That's what really hooked me. But that first couple of times, taking that leap, walking onto that stage, especially with The Last Supper, because as you can see, I wear glasses. I couldn't wear glasses in that show because we were trying to be historically correct. So I was
Because the apostles sing all the time.
We didn't sing in that one.
Oh, you had the Greek
We
choir.
had the Greek choir, so it was different.
Even more exciting.
But having to not be able to even see where the steps were to walk onto the stage.
They didn't have glow tape?
No, well, if they did, I couldn't see it. I was blind without my
Captain
glasses.
Safety, Captain Safety. You just look for the glowing blobs and step over them.
I think I did.
Then you know you're on a step.
Except I think it was a little old lady with a candy wrapper, but that's
The blob or the candy wrapper was.
I think a little. I'm not really sure. I didn't have my glasses on, but it was that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Now
making that transition.
You've directed a whole lot. You've
Yes.
stage managed for us. You've worked backstage.
Right.
When did you take the leap from the bright lights to the dark side?
Well, I did a lot of backstage stuff at the Thompson Opera House. I liked it because you didn't feel the pressure that you feel when people are standing on the wings and they're panicking, waiting to get on there to do their first line. I didn't have to worry about that.
No, see, I'm a little more pressured with crew.
Really?
Because if I screw it up,
Yeah.
then they all have to figure it out on stage later.
Well, here's the
I'm
thing.
a little more.
I never really worried about that too much because we all wore black. So if I screwed up, I'll just point to somebody else.
I've done the
black
wrong
and they
scene
can-
change before, you know,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
you know, I'll own it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it freaks me out just a little bit.
No.
And I've also been a director of the show that they did the wrong scene change and the director's back there.
I will say
pulling
that
it out.
I wrote a play years ago called KH is Coming to Dinner, a little 2-act play about an
Pennies.
obsessed Katharine Hepburn fan. I wrote it and then I directed it at our church. I think directing was not so scary for me as was because I had written it and it was a comedy, waiting for that first laugh line. And now you've written so many things. Waiting for that first laugh line
And I tend to write really stupid humor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of selective humor.
yeah,
And I never really know what's going to happen.
that's true.
You know, when I wrote Neverland Christmas,
Yes.
and I passed it over to Lori at the desk and she read it and I was laughing, knowing she was reading it.
Right.
And she put it down and she went, I said, it's funny. And she said, if you're an 8-year-old, it's a children's show. Thank you very much. You know, she
Yeah.
especially, you know, doesn't like it so much when I put in all my fart scenes and I love
Yeah.
fart humor. So it worked really well for that show.
Nothing will
Worked really,
drive
really well.
my Lori crazier than when I'm reading a funny script.
Yeah.
Because I laugh out loud at the odd times when it calls for it out there, and she's just
Well,
really
you know,
quiet.
we read hundreds of scripts in the office.
Right.
Hundreds of scripts. The one way I know that that we found one that is a potential is if Lori Poulin is sitting at her desk reading it and laughing out loud and not going, oh God, this reading makes me tired. Because normally it's, and she'll put it down. That's okay. That's not a good one. But if she's laughing out
Yeah,
loud,
yeah.
okay, this is a good one. And so that's a good thing.
I think so. Getting back to our actual
Yeah. So
theme.
speaking of, you
Yes.
know, our guest
Yes.
took a great leap for us,
She did.
and he's taken several leaps, you know,
Mhm.
as we go.
But before we go to him, we have to go back.
We're
to
going
Minnesota.
to Northfield, Minnesota.
Yes.
It's right. It
Yes.
is time for our friend Lydia to join us. So Lydia Cleft. So let me tell you a little bit about where Lydia comes from. So Lydia, the character of Lydia, originated in our production of Death and Taxes. One of my favorite shows.
We know.
Nobody else really liked it. He was in it. They won't let me do it again. And I really love the show. And from that, Lydia was born. She was one of the characters in the show. And Lori Poulin, the actress, developed the character more. And she comes on to as our part of our improv company. And she does a segment called Good Morning Minnesota when we do our improv company
Yes.
nights. And so that's where Ask Lydia came from. So without further ado, we have to bring Lydia Cleft all the way from Northfield, Minnesota.
Like we did that there.
Hi, Lydia.
Hi, fellas.
Applaud, Lydia. You got applause.
You got
today.
applause from the studio audience.
Was that my fan?
That's your fan, one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, the others don't really know who you are.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's all good. So how are you, Lydia?
I'm really good. I ate in a restaurant today
You
Inside?
did.
inside a building.
Whoa,
And
that
it
had
was-
to be different.
Yeah, it was just me and my friend. Nobody else was there.
That's good.
Oh.
So it was distanced.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, that's awesome. Well, listen, we have some questions for you.
Okay.
They're really good. So, Tim, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I will, Lydia. I got a nice little question here from LB. We know they like to use just their initials.
LB.
from
Okay.
Seymour, that's
Oh.
a town,
Yeah.
writes, Dear Lydia, during this shutdown, I've been experimenting with new recipes. I've become a huge fan of boysenberries, but they give my husband terrible wind, and it doesn't smell like boysenberries. Do you know of any other berry that might give me the same flavor and consistency? And do you have any quick home cures that could stop my husband's wind so he can enjoy the sweet goodness of boysenberry?
Oh, I sure do, LB. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but if you go to those fancy farmers markets, you can get the counterpart to the boysenberry. It's called a girlsenberry, because we all know girls don't break wind like boys do. No. And the other part of your problem is you just, how they say they have these man cave things for the fellas? Well, if you build one outside and you make it really enticing for your husband, just make him go out there and do his business.
That's
I
some
never heard of girls and berries.
girls and berries.
It's very rare, I'm telling you.
Okay,
I'm
well, that's,
guessing,
I think that's some good
yeah.
advice.
I hope
And
Yankee
I
Candle.
have a little piece of trivia. You said that question came from Seymour.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Seymour, Indiana.
Oh.
Seymour.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So and now it's time for my question.
Yes.
Oh,
From
okay.
CB in Waterbury.
CB, okay.
Someone told me that you enjoy tea, and I'm hoping that you can help me. I spilled tea on my favorite white tablecloth. I've hand washed it and hung it to dry, but the stain is still there. Any secrets you can share to get the stains out?
Yes, I do, and I am not being paid for this endorsement, but I use something called Biz for my tablecloths because I am a tablecloth junkie. I will admit it. There should be a tablecloth anonymous for me. I would go there. So what I do is you get the Biz and you follow the instructions. You put it in a bucket or something, and then you soak your tablecloth in there. You can do it for, overnight. If it still is in there, you can leave it a little bit longer. But when you hang out your cloth, make sure that it is in the sun because the sun will also help bleach that spot clean.
Wow.
I think yeah, that's amazing.
I knew that she would have the answer
Yes,
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's obviously
Tablecloths Anonymous, TA. So you.
Yeah. And I also have a question about all those anonymous meetings you go to.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
Anonymous means you don't know who it is, right? First thing you do in an anonymous meeting is you say, hi, my name's Lydia. What's anonymous about that?
That's a really good question, Lydia.
We'll have to ask somebody.
I don't only answer the questions, I ask some too.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So Lydia, listen, last week you did this very dramatic reading for us
Yes.
of It's My Party, and I'll
Yeah.
cry if I want to. And we got so much feedback from that. We're wondering if maybe you
Oh,
can
did
do
you? That's
something
good.
else. Can you do something else for us tonight?
Well, I felt like expanding my horizons yet again.
Oh,
And at about 3:30 the other morning, I couldn't sleep. So I was inspired. Do you remember when you were in school and you had to learn about different kinds of poetry?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the poetry that I chose to do this evening is called haiku. Going back to your Japan that you were talking about, it's a short form of poetry from Japan. The entire poem is only 17 syllables.
Right.
And the first line is 5, then 7, then 5 again. So in those 3 lines, you have to tell a story.
Okay.
So I wrote some haiku. I have
Did you?
3 different haiku. I
Okay.
don't know if it's haikus, if it's more than one.
Okay.
Okay, so the first haiku that I wrote speaks to today's attitude a little bit.
Okay.
It goes like this. Try to be nicer. What goes around comes around. Karma is a bitch. So that's the first one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I felt it.
And
I
then,
felt it.
and
Yeah.
then the second one, Tim, I know you're probably missing all your sports on TV and whatnot. So
Yeah.
when I wrote this one, I had you in mind. Okay. So this one goes, I miss sports a lot. Who will handle all the balls? Balls, 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 balls. So that's the sports one. And then because 4th of July is coming up,
Yes.
I wrote one, you know, about the 4th of July, kind of. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the last one.
Okay.
Okay. Illegal fireworks. Must pay attention to them. Oops, there goes my thumb. So that's what I have for you this week, fellas.
Well, Lydia, as always, you just take us to a place we have no idea where to go from next. We want you to hang in there.
Hang
for
in
us,
there.
'cause we
Our
have
guest is
special
going to have a
guest.
question for you. Okay.
Oh,
Thanks.
sure. Okay.
Thank you, Lydia.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Well, you know, haiku is supposed to generate a feeling, and the feeling of missing fingers, I think, is what that last one was all about.
Balls, 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 balls.
Oh,
Eric
my
loves
gosh.
balls.
Yes, I know.
His character said so in The Three Musketeers.
Yeah.
Balls, balls. I love balls.
Oh.
Family channel, family channel.
Yes.
Hey, it's time for us to bring our guest on. So
Yes.
let me tell you who our guest is. This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
thrilled to have Brian Elster with us here tonight. He was last seen on stage here at Phoenix Stage Company in The Pink Panther Strikes Again.
No.
His
Drinking habits too.
Drinking Habits too. Sorry, then Pink Panther Strikes Again. So his other credits are too many to be listed totally, but here's a few of them. Drinking Habits too.
Right.
4 Weddings and an Elvis, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Great American Trailer Park Christmas Musical, 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, Moon Over Buffalo, and Fireflies. And that was just in the last 2 seasons. Yeah, so busy. Brian made the leap from the dark side to the light side in our production of Drinking Habits 1
Yes.
way back in 2011. Brian Elster, are you there with us, my friend?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Brian.
Yay.
Oh,
Welcome.
thanks for
Thank you
having me.
with us tonight. And hey, you know what? We're speaking of leaps.
Yes.
Brian's making another leap.
Oh,
The ultimate leap. Brian got engaged yesterday. We're so excited for you and Darcy. We love you guys so much. So
And,
congratulations
and
to
it's
you.
very, very wise of Darcy to leave the building today while you're on the air here. So we can
Yeah.
because she knows we would have asked to see her too.
Yeah.
Congratulations. We want to, before we get into the subject, tell us about the engagement. How'd that go?
Well, yesterday was our 2-year anniversary, so I wanted to make it special for her and also make our lives a little easier. Only have to remember one date. Always helpful. So I actually cooked her some baked mac and cheese, which I don't really cook, so that was a fun experience.
Yeah.
Turned out pretty well. And then so we sat down, enjoyed that. She went to take out the trash, and when she turned around, I was down on one knee with her engagement ring, which was a ring pop.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. First, a couple of things there. Big
Yep.
Mac. That's a different way of doing it.
Yep.
Ring pop.
Yeah.
Explain the ring pop.
When we started dating, that was actually something we discussed. She has a ring from her aunt that she wanted to use as her engagement ring. So the ring pop was essentially a placeholder, mostly because the ring was locked away in her safety deposit box in the bank that she currently works in. So would be kind of hard for me to sneak in and get that without her knowing.
Yeah.
So the ring pop was basically to cover that. I got her a 20 pack of them. So I told her at least I had 19 backups if she said no.
And assume she said yes, of course.
Yep.
How surprised was she?
The first words out of her mouth were, "What?"
Okay.
So pretty surprised.
Did she
Since it
ever
was-
say yes? Because my wife never said yes.
She did say yes.
I bet- yeah. Mine says, "You bet your life," I think was what Laura had. But yeah, it was. I didn't use a ring pop, but well done on it. Well, we're so very happy for you. We love Darcy all to crazy,
Yeah,
and you know, it's a happy moment like this that keeps the family going. We
Sure.
really like that.
Sure.
So let's talk about making that leap, Brian. Let's talk about when you first started becoming the Phoenix Stage Company, way back when they first opened in
2010. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What brought you down to Phoenix in the first place?
Well, I actually had done a show up in Massachusetts before that. I didn't want to. One of my friends convinced me to go to an audition for it, ended up getting cast in it. It was As You Like It. Then I ended up moving back down to Connecticut, and I was interested in possibly doing something like that again because all my friends were still up in Massachusetts at that point in time, with the exception of my younger brother, Kevin, and my best friend, John. So I was also looking to find some more social activity. My parents actually saw in the newspaper that there was a theater doing shows right down the road from us because my parents' house is like 5 minutes from where the Naugatuck location was. So
Right.
made it perfect for me when I started doing all that. So ended up seeing that, sat front row for Bleacher Bums and filled out a blue card, I believe, and got a call for Hallelujah Girls, and I was backstage for that. Finished off all the food that they didn't eat on stage. And Ed and I had the sign communication with Ready and Not, or I think it
yes
was
and
no.
no. Yeah, we had the glow in
Yes
the
and no.
paper. Yes, no. That was our communication backstage.
We
because
should
were
should
so
mention
new.
that at the Naugatuck location, which was a storefront location, there was virtually no room backstage behind. the set.
Depending on the set, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we had about 2 feet between the back wall of that set
Right.
and the wall of the building.
Yeah.
So Ryan was all the way down on one side and I was
Yeah.
on the other. So when there were actresses on the sides, we would hold up these signs that said yes, no, like
Yeah.
we were directing airplanes.
Yeah, that's,
You know.
theater semaphore is what
Yeah,
you had
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It was very much like this, that you couldn't talk backstage because there was no separation between the backstage, the stage, and the audience, so everything could get heard.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was Hallelujah Girls, which is like the
That was 2010. It was our first holiday
season.
show.
Yeah.
Our first, it was a,
Well,
well,
first-
just, that was the little season.
oh right.
Yep.
Okay.
Hallelujah Girls was November, December of 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next season came along.
Yep.
And we started with I Hate Hamlet.
Yep. I actually auditioned for that. Ended up being backstage and crew for that. So I ran the TV, and that had the ad with Charles Foliage, I believe, was the
Right.
chipmunk puppet's name.
Yeah. And
So-
and then we were doing drinking habits.
Right.
And I think you were crewing for that, right, Brian? And then
Drinking Habits came after Icebox, actually. So I was in that in a very small role, and saw that you had the sign on the box office at the time. So I decided to muster up my courage and ask if I'd be able to do it, and the rest is
Yeah.
history at this point.
it's true.
And you got thrown in the deep end of
Yeah.
the pool in drinking habits. You had at one point 4 costumes on.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a nun, a priest, a cardinal,
And a reporter.
and a
Yep.
reporter.
Yep.
Yeah.
All on top of each other.
So, in that particular production, which Ed directed, you also learned about Ed's unusual brand of humor.
Yep.
The chase theme.
Yep. That was fun.
There's always a chase theme, and there's generally a fart. Generally, and just the particular brand of humor when you were changing out of costumes in front of us and you took off one of your costumes but had the glasses on, we couldn't figure out who you were.
Yep.
Until you took the glasses off, and then we're like, the Clark Kent syndrome. I
The
think.
Clark Kent syndrome.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
Now,
Yeah.
Brian, that, as you know, the audience was right on top of us.
Yeah.
Or we were right on top of them. I was in that show too, I should mention.
Yep. You're my father, the father.
I was your father, the father. Did that intimidate you at all, having the audience so close? Especially, I'm sure your parents came to see it multiple.
Yeah. That's actually my mom's favorite show that I've ever done.
Is that right?
It was very intimidating. Like when I did As You Like It was in a little black box theater, so everyone was already right up on you. And whenever the character Audrey came on stage, the way the director had it was anyone that wasn't on stage put on a sheep hood and was just causing chaos in the audience. So one time, one of the performances, my uncle and aunt were there, so I was just headbutting my uncle's leg the entire time I was on stage.
That sounds like a fun job.
Yep. But yeah, that was definitely terrifying to me, knowing that they were right there. And pretty much every time I was about to go on stage, right before I would go, I'm like, oh, what's my first line again?
Yeah.
Get into the lights, take like one step, and I'm like, there it is.
Yeah, that happens with so many people. I'm one of them that the moment before, especially during announcements, when you're waiting to go on there and get that first line out, that is the most gut-wrenching time ever.
Oh yeah.
It depends if it doesn't matter how many lines you have, really.
No, I think every actor, the minute you put your hand on the doorknob or getting ready to go on, you kind of freak a little bit.
Right.
You know, Brian, you know, you've proven yourself over these years with this company to be super versatile. Like you do some crazy stuff. I have to say that one of the most impressive roles that I've seen you in, and was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, because you played that character that you had the one line, which we really can't say on the air here, because it was very adult. But the way that you portrayed that character and kept your focus during the performances was pretty darn amazing. Was it difficult for you to get into that character? I mean, there wasn't a whole lot really. You had to create something.
Yeah.
Was it difficult?
Yeah, it was a little difficult because I had to be engaged without looking like I was actually engaged. So like I had like a blank stare on my face, but I was kind of reacting, like the scene where they're all raising their hands to watch the World Series. Some people caught it. Other people probably didn't notice it, but my character was mimicking them.
Okay.
Over in the wall. The hardest part was definitely just staying in the crucifixion pose the entire time, though.
Physically, that's tough to do.
And I think you went from that crazy character into Moon Over Buffalo.
Yeah.
The weatherman hopping around tied up, which was fairly brilliant as well. So
yeah, I have to tell you that when I've told you this, Brian, before, when Brian is doing that scene where he's been captured and tied up by members of the troop there, and you escape and you're jumping around. I was always downstairs. I had a free time and I was downstairs, and it sounded like the building was coming down.
Yeah,
I'm sure it didn't resonate quite so loudly up here, but down there, whoo! Wow.
So we're gonna ask you this question. Favorite role you've played?
That's hard.
It's hard.
Probably Paul from Drinking Habits and Drinking Habits too.
There you go.
Just because
any role that you would do again?
I think I'd do. This wasn't with Phoenix, but I think I'd do Duke again. Just because that
was from
the first trailer part.
Great American Trailer Park Musical, Roadkill.
Yep, Roadkill.
Yeah, I kind of sucked you into that one too. So
I don't mind.
Yeah,
he's pretty busy.
That was a great role. You did a great job with that one.
And since we have 3/4 of the cast here too, I would also nominate Jacob Marley's Christmas.
Yeah, that was another one that I absolutely loved. And,
we got everybody but Rob here for that show. Brilliantly done show, directed by Lori Poulin.
That was a great experience.
Yeah,
it was really good. Now, Brian, one more question. Any dream roles or bucket roles that you have in your head?
I mean, it's more of shows that I'd want to do. So like Spamalot is one of the ones that I'd love to do at some point. Probably Patsy if I had to pick a role in that. And then
oh God, yes, absolutely.
Then the other show that I want to do is mostly because I'm keep pushing my boundaries. Like when I started, I thought I would never sing on stage, and now I've done several musicals.
Right.
So the next one would be Full Monty.
Oh my goodness!
Good on you.
Good on you.
I don't know what role, but
don't be offended, but I won't come see you in that. There's just
I understand.
something wrong with seeing your children on stage like that.
Yeah.
And you're one of my theater kids, you know.
Yep.
So, I mean, this guy was in it, and
I can tell you, I was in it. I have done the Full Monty, and I'm totally with you. There's no more liberating experience.
That is burned into your brain forever. Never go away.
I will say that none of my family came to see that.
Well,
so,
happy.
I'd hope my parents wouldn't come to see that.
Yeah.
Brian, let me ask this.
It won't. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Brian, but that's not a show that you'll see here on the stage at Phoenix Stage Company. We're just close, and all those dirty ladies in the audience with their flashlights. Yeah. Lights go out. So
totally new meaning to social distancing.
yes.
Brian, do you ever, since you've done like Cuckoo's Nest and a couple like that, do you prefer the drama or the comedy, or you just whatever, as long as
it's pretty much whatever I'm needed for, but I'd have to say I prefer the comedy just because I enjoy making people laugh, and I enjoy lightening people's moods. Mm-hmm. I haven't really, aside from Cuckoo's Nest and Fireflies, I haven't really done many like dramas.
I will say that Cuckoo's Nest was about as dramatic as you could possibly get.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, Brian, I personally think that you're a brilliant young man.
Thank you.
And I'm so happy for you and Darcy.
Yep.
I think that you're both going to do very, very well together in your life. So we asked you to prepare a question for Lydia.
Yep.
So we're going to bring Lydia back on from Fairfield, Minnesota, Northfield, Minnesota. And Lydia, Brian is here, and he's going to ask you a question.
Hi, Brian. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Now, as you may have heard, I am now engaged. So
congratulations. That's
thank
so
you.
exciting.
Thank you. So my question relates to some phrases that I've picked up over time.
Okay.
So, like, I've learned the phrase, yes, dear, which usually will help me throughout all of those. My soon-to-be father-in-law taught me the phrase, you're right, which is always a good one to know. I was wondering if you had any suggestions on other phrases that I might learn to help me have a successful marriage.
Oh, sure. If she ever asks you a hard question, you say, look over there, and run in the other direction.
Oh, okay. I think I can do that.
Okay. And then, your future father-in-law hit it right on the head, yeah. Because they have that phrase, like, the customer is always right. Just assume that you're the store and she's the customer, and it'll be fine. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome, young man.
Thank you, Lydia, for sticking around to answer Brian's question.
You're welcome, fellas. Have a nice night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Lydia.
So, Brian, now it's time for you to play our game.
All right.
Yes. Tim, tell him what he's going to play.
You're going to play jargon gymnastics. Stretch your mind and stretch your tongue.
All right.
Now, every week we do some research. We find some words from a different language, a foreign language, that are interesting. And we come up with 3 definitions, and your job is to pick the right definition. If you get 2 out of 3 right, you win a prize.
You win a prize for you and for our studio audience member, Amber Dunphy, tonight.
Okay.
So, no pressure on there. Are you a fan of the Muppets, Brian?
Yeah.
Excellent, because we're going to ask you Swedish words.
Okay.
These are real words,
These are
and
real
yes,
words.
their definitions are real.
Oh,
Well,
jeez.
one
All
of
right.
it.
One of your choices in each word. Go
So,
ahead.
are you ready? This is your first word. Lyckatil. We think you're saying that right. It's Lycka-till. Lyckatil.
Lyckatil.
Lyckatil. Is it one, the Swedish habit of using one's tongue to wash the dishes, especially during the droughts of summer? Is it number two, the Swedes' way of saying good luck to one another, except Swedish actors who you know are very superstitious? Or is it number three, what the Swedes call those annoyingly long paper receipts from IKEA?
I'm gonna go with number two.
Ding, ding, ding. That's right.
Congratulations. Yes, it is indeed the way the Swedes say good luck.
Lyckatil.
Okay, you're going good here. Here's your next one. Laderlappen. Or it might be later lappen, but we think it's Laderlappen.
How's it spelled?
It's Lader hyphen Lappen.
Laderlappen.
Laderlappen.
Laderlappen. Yeah.
Laderlappen.
Laderlappen.
It's what is it number one? What the Swedes call Batman because the Dark Knight was too scary. Number two, what the Swedes call British Prime Minister Boris Johnson because his propensity to enjoy lap dances. Or number three, the Swedes' own version of Captain America, but it translates out to something like Corporal Good Guy.
Huh.
Yes, one of those is the actual answer.
Yeah, this is tricky. I'll go with number one.
Yes, you're right.
Come on.
I was going to ask you if you watched a lot of Avenger movies in Swedish.
Laderlappen.
No,
I wonder what they called Robin.
I don't know. We'll have to look that one up.
Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Laderlappen.
Laderlappen and Robin.
I don't speak Swedish, so I can't help you there.
Okay. So you've already won, but here's what we're going to go for a
Yep.
clean sweep. Are you ready?
Yep.
Your last word is Ola.
Ola.
Olla.
Okay.
Ola.
Is Ola the strange and unusual way Swedes greet one another when in Barcelona?
Barcelona.
Number two, the very strange and unusual way Swedes like to break into spontaneous human pyramids. Or number three, the completely strange and weirdly unusual word that Swedes have to describe touching something with the tip of the male anatomy, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge. We find just the best word for you.
Yeah. I'm going with three.
Yes, you're right.
I don't know why they need that word though.
Believe it when I looked it up, and Michael, in fact, double checked because he couldn't believe it either. It is apparently
It is
it's something the
true.
Swedes do. If someone ever comes up to you and says "Ola," you're supposed to walk away.
Oh, okay. I'll remember that.
Back away, but walk away. Either way, just don't go near them.
Or you could just slap him on the hip with the tip of your male anatomy. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's Ola.
That's
I
their
don't
way
know,
of
right?
saying hello, I guess.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hola.
Laderlappen. Yeah. So
anyway,
you have won for yourself and for Amber a custom-made Take Flight with Phoenix Stage Company COVID-19 mask.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Phoenix Stage Company Theater Strong bracelet.
Oh,
Congratulations.
awesome.
well
winner.
done. 3 for 3.
Excellent job. Brian, congratulations again on your engagement.
Thank you.
So happy for you. We cannot wait till this is all over and we can get together and we can congratulate you officially with hugs
Yeah, me too.
and warm wishes. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
it very, very much.
Yeah. Take care,
Be
Brian.
well.
I
Yep,
love
you too.
Bye-bye. Brian Elson.
Brian Elser.
Wow. Brian has been there practically from day one, it seems like. It does seem like it.
It seems like it. And boy, we just have him in show after show after show after show. And if ever we need someone for a show.
Yeah. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Yeah.
There we
If
go.
it's not, hey, Eric, who's
Yeah.
also sitting in the audience, or hey, Michael. Yeah. It's like we have these guys that we just beat to death to be on stage.
Brian,
because we need
it's
people
not
so
only
badly.
on stage. He will do anything we need backstage. He will do anything we need up in the booth.
Yep.
He's just very talented. And
He helps
very
people
giving
move.
Yes,
like-
he does.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
plays D&D.
Yes, he does.
It's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, so he's just wonderful to have around. Everybody loves having Brian in the house.
yeah. Hey, Amber, do you have a favorite thing that you've seen Brian in?
Probably Cuckoo's Nest.
Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
He was
It was
crazy
such,
good in that.
such a departure for him.
Yeah,
And I thought what he did was really exceptional with that is he drew just enough attention to himself.
Yeah.
But not too much.
Yeah.
He didn't draw away from all the action that was happening, but it was like a picture. You could actually look up on that wall
yeah,
and know that he was still going to be there.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was just
And more than one time, he's been stage manager or assistant stage manager or working backstage, and suddenly Poopy's on stage. And that happened during Men of No Importance. He was the assistant stage manager. Suddenly he was in the show, playing 2 roles for us. So it's happened more than once, and he's always there. And we love
it was
our
so much
Brian.
fun doing Drinking Habits too with him again, because we had so much fun with the first one, and bringing him back for the second one was even more fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Last show we did.
It was like a reunion.
It was. It was.
It was. So listen, we need to thank our sponsors.
Yes.
We need to thank, we're waiting for Michael to put up the fancy slide because he's so quick on the draw.
Oh, there he is.
Take Flight with Phoenix Stage Company is sponsored by Black Hog Brewing Company of Oxford, Connecticut.
We love you, Black
We
Hog.
love you, Black Hog. And
Sierra Ridge Media Arts in Naugatuck, Connecticut, our good friend Deb Cryan.
Deb Cryan,
Thank
that's
you
right.
for all that. We love our sponsors.
We really do.
You know what? We haven't even talked yet tonight about people subscribing to our channel.
That's right. You need to make sure you subscribe. There's a link right below your screen. You can also make a donation at any time to support your community theater at phoenix-stage-company.square.site. And we appreciate everyone's help.
Yes, we do.
During this
And tell your friends.
during this time.
Tell your friends to sign up for our channel.
Yeah.
We'd love to have more people and love to have you on and take part in our craziness up here. I just had another thought and it just completely went out of my head.
We also need to do a quick shout out to our technical producer, Michael Calabrese, who's sitting here with his headphones on. It's always a little weird because we see him get these funny looks on his face, so we have no idea what anybody is saying about us
Yeah.
because we can't see the screen, so we don't know what
And
people are talking about.
Just as well.
And he has become obsessed with unique watchers and subscribers. So tell your
definitely
friends,
tell your friends.
to watch, subscribe, just to make Michael happy.
Yep.
He's become obsessed with those numbers. Every time I talk to him, it's brilliant. So we're really happy. Also, Sharon Houk for all of her work on all of our graphics and things that she does
Right.
for us. Thank you so
Right.
much.
We are having so much. Oh, I also want to mention, if you have a question for Lydia,
That's right.
you could send that question to info.
Yeah, Michael, can we go back to us real quick
Yeah.
from the slide?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So I know it's a weird.
I know,
order.
we threw you off there.
Hey, we're all
Okay.
improv here.
That's
So
right.
info@phoenixstagecompany.org.
Send
You
us your
can
question
send questions to Lydia.
to Lydia.
You can also ask them right there to Michael. He's watching, so you can type them on the screen next to you.
Yep.
And Michael will let us know what people are saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions during any of our discussions with either just the two of us or with our special guest, ask Michael. He'll write it down for you.
Sure, he will.
Because he has a little whiteboard that's way out of reach for him right now.
He just shouts them out for us.
He does.
So we like to hear his voice.
Yes, it's great.
It is.
So it's it's been a crazy week.
It
But
has.
we're so grateful that you spent your time with us on a Thursday night.
We appreciate
We
it. And
do love it.
who's our guest next week?
Next week we have Nancy Sasso-Janis.
Nancy Sasso-Janis. She's a reviewer and a blogger about theater in our area.
And she's been with us for a long time, and she's agreed to come on our show and talk about all things theater. So
All
we're really
things
looking
theater.
forward to that.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to be an audience member, we have room, but we need to hear from you in advance.
yeah, we're kind of limiting it to just a few people, just to make everybody comfortable. We have a list of things on the door. We're going to make sure that
Yep.
you're not sick or anything.
Mm.
Don't want you to bring anything into the room. And we make our popcorn, right? Amber, you had your popcorn. Mom had popcorn.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
everybody had their popcorn.
And
And
coffee.
beverages are nice and cold.
And
We had
coffee,
coffee
yeah.
for Eric up there.
So send us an email at info
info@phoenixstagecompany.org.
And tell us what Thursday night you'd like to be.
And I'm
here.
willing to bet that Michael has added a link on the bottom of the page there for you to send that email to, or he'll type it into your comment section and say, send that email off. We did get an email or a comment last week from Colleen Renzullo from Cooking with Colleen, asking how she could become an audience member. So Colleen, just send me a text. We'll take care of it. We'll get you in the room.
But you have to make some brownies first. How about those brownies?
How about those brownies? The slutty brownies.
brownies.
Those were amazing.
They were. Well, this has been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun, and we're looking very forward to being here again next week. Thank you all very much for joining us. Say good night, Tim.
Good night, Tim.
Until next time. Bye-bye.